Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2. I totally remember the name. The Scott Effect and Rising Sun. I'm your host, Clio. And welcome to the One Woman Podcast. This is weird. It hasn't happened in less than a year, but almost a year. Like, it's been a long-ass time. I think the beginning of Arrow, this past season of Arrow, was the last One Woman Podcast I did. But I left this podcast off last season of The Last Ship. I never did the season finale because I got discouraged. The numbers of it coming live wasn't as high as I expected. I got busy during the summer, so I just never got around to it. And then, obviously, during the fall season, everything goes to shit. So, but during the fall, like when Last Ship was coming to DVD and like everyone, people were catching up, numbers rose, and I was like, oh, well, I gotta jump back in. So I was not able to squeeze in the season finale of season 2, which was called A More Perfect Union, and it was a great episode. So I will talk about it right before I jump into episodes 1 and 2 of season 3. On the season finale of 2 and the premiere of 3, they start the same way. It's a message from the president to the people of the United States, obviously about different things, but he keeps that, like, hopeful tone to his voice, no matter like what the situation is. He's just got that very smooth voice that just, you shut up and you listen. I really like him as president. He just calls the people, to come together, to come to the sites where they're going to spread the cure, and they've got the contagious cure. Dr. Scott gives the ship crew the contagious cure, and they're going to go and spread it to the people in these preset places they're going to visit. And oh my gosh, Master Chief and his in-laws, I can't like, everything Master Chief does is adorable. The man's a giant teddy bear. I love it. But he's obviously scared for them. They're the last family he has left after his wife and child died. And their reunion was, oh my gosh, almost cried. I probably did cry, I don't remember. There were a lot of reunions that were really awesome. Tex and his daughter. Definitely meeting Tex's daughter was awesome because she was badass. And, man, that's something I missed in, the beginning of season 3. There's no Tex. I'm so upset there's no Tex. But yeah, the sorry, this is very weird. I haven't been without somebody to bounce off of in a while. Just me talking hasn't happened in a while. But I forgot where they went. Norfolk? Did they? It was some college that they went to. But the Immunes dressed up as Navy officers, tricked everybody. But that didn't stop them from spreading the cure. They did the airborne. I forgot. Now I'm forgetting why they did the airborne and not the contagious. They did both, I think. They did both. But yeah, I liked the inaugural ball when it was all over, and the whole scenes of them like coming together, the Navy coming together with all the people and spreading the cure was like so awesome. And I need my list up of everybody's names because I forget everybody's names constantly. But Miller. Oh, Miller was so funny when Scott was showing them how to spread the cure. She used Miller as the test subject, and it was just, he's so funny. He's got like a bit of awkwardness, but like not too much. And then, yeah, he kisses one of the ladies in the crowd, and that was just so funny. But yeah, they did that, like, this tribute to, like, everyone who's died on this journey. And I like, a couple names I didn't recognize. But it's definitely nice to hear that, because, like, none of the characters who have died have been forgotten. Obviously by the crew, but by the writers too, and that's important, because sometimes there are shows where it's like, this character died, and it's like you forget about them, and the writers just, never ever leave little hints about them that they ever existed, so I like when, the due is paid. So, and the end is, Dr. Scott gets shot. She gets shot, and I never imagined that she'd be dead. Or if she died, I thought maybe we'd at least see her. And we don't. We come into season 3, which I'm going to start talking about now, and she's dead. And, this first episode, the Scott effect, starts with the president's first, I think he said it was his first television broadcast to the people, speech to the people. And, yeah, he's just like the murder of, it's how many months after the murder of Dr. Scott. And she's, they've put her face on the ration books. And yeah, she's gone. And I thought it felt like an exit of an actor who didn't enjoy being on a show. That's what it felt like, but I found no evidence of it. And the writers refer to it as a choice. And yes, sometimes it is a choice. Even when an actor wants to leave, it's still a choice of how they handled the exit. But I feel like, I don't know. It was just odd, is all. But they do refer to it as a choice, and that she was beloved for coming up with, for being like the spearhead of this cure, and she's got this immortality now to her name. And going forward, I mean, this definitely leaves a vacuum. We have the cure, it's solid, but as we see what happens in Japan, it might not be solid forever. And there's no one with her mind. Her mind was honed in on this. Like, this was her life's work. And I don't think there's anyone who can match her in that field. But I keep calling him Sitwell. I think his name on this show is Royas, Dr. Royas. He's Sitwell to me. He'll never not be Sitwell. I'm sorry, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I can't not. But anyway, Sitwell was sort of Scott's lab assistant, lab partner. When she was working, he was the science officer. I'm sorry, not science officer. Was he the doctor? Yeah, physician, whatever his actual title is. But he worked very closely with her when she was developing the cure. So he's got her notes. He's got experience working with her. I think if it comes to needing to tweak the cure, it's going to be up to him. I actually should have mentioned this when I started talking about this episode, but the premiere of season 3 was pushed back a week because of the shootings in Orlando. And I think that whenever tragedy happens in the world, it's the discretion of whoever, like, there was a poll somewhere where it was like, were they right to postpone the the thing. And it's not a matter of it being right or wrong. It's their choice. They chose to respect this terrible thing that happened in real life by postponing this that does have gun violence in it for later. However, I mean, it's not like the season finale didn't have gun violence, but it was also something that we've seen already. So if it's something you're watching for the first time with gun violence, it's a little shocking. So I think that they did something similar, not TNT, USA. Last summer, with the reporter that got shot, they postponed the season finale of Mr. Robot because there was a shooting in that season finale, and that's up to the network, and I appreciate it. I think that was a good thing for them to do, but I just wanted to address that because that's something important, and it's sort of this show already has done a really good job of highlighting stuff that's sort of wrong with our society today. They go on. I think this is in episode 2, and I'm jumping ahead. I don't care. I'm going all over the place. I don't care. My notes are way too long. I shouldn't have written this many notes. But clearly the country is in a not really a state of war, but they're recovering from an apocalyptic event almost, And this is such an interesting landscape because the president goes on about, he's like, we have ration books, and you get your food with the ration books, but the US currency will still be worth something, like, and after, because they have to ration their food to make sure that everyone gets fed and stuff like that. So obviously for food rations, you need to do that. But money they'll, implement when they have enough that they don't have to ration food anymore. But the president's on the line with congressmen who have people complaining that they have food and they want to buy more than they have rations for. And it's that, wanting more than you need. And they're like, you can't just expect everyone to change the way. It's like, maybe we should. Maybe we should change the way we think, the way this society works. I don't want to say the apocalypse happened for a reason, because it was, I mean, it's one crazy scientist fucking around with science, but, it was a disease, and it's not like not divine intervention. What was that? Intelligent design. It's not intelligent design, I don't know where I was going with that, but I think that that it relates sort of to how our world works. Because, I mean, it just spoke to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, people act like that. Totally understand. So, getting into, Chandler is now Secretary of Defense. He said yes to the job that the president offered him at the end of season 2. I was unsure, because at the end of season 2, he never said yes. I'm pretty sure that Dr. Scott dying was a factor in him saying yes to taking the job of Secretary of Defense. I couldn't imagine it any other way. And we see him and Dr. Scott had such a weird and interesting relationship. But clearly she impacted him, Chandler, a lot. She impacted Tom a lot. And I actually still have her. She's dead, I know, I'm sorry. She's gonna get changed. We're gonna have 2 different... I'm actually probably gonna get rid of Tom, too. We're gonna have 2 different people. And hopefully I'll be in a position where I was when I was doing the Arrow podcast, and where I'll be switching who's on both sides every week, depending on who's got the spotlight. But yeah, sorry, Dr. Scott, gonna have to get rid of you. Yeah, so Chandler's Secretary of Defense. Slattery is the captain of the Nathan James. He's, in the beginning of the episode, he's loving the position. He's loving it, and it's, his conversation with Tom, they were talking, it's a lot of responsibility, and it's a lot to put, it's a lot to realize, because when you're not the top man on the totem pole, you can always look to your right, and there's someone there who's higher, who can help with the decision. Obviously, CO, commanding officer, always makes the final decision. So as XO, Slattery was always able to look to Tom to be like, yeah, okay. But now there's no one on his right, and he's the one to make those calls. Which actually we didn't see that much of Slattery being the commander, because they go off on a party, a party in Vietnam, when they're spreading the cure. So, contagious cure. They're spreading it to tell the people at the party, and it's going to get spread to everyone in Vietnam. I loved Burke. Burke's older brother is on the Nathan James now. It's clear that he's been in the Navy. They don't really say where he was at all this time. Obviously on a different boat, but somehow landed a gig on the boat with his brother. So Carlton's the one we've been with this whole time, and I don't remember his brother's name. Cameron. Oh God. Couldn't have made it easier for me. They both have the same initials. Carlton and Cameron. Cameron's the older one, the new one. Anyway, Cameron ends up in charge while Slattery and, oh gosh, now I've forgotten the Garnet. Slattery, Garnet lead, the group to the party on the shore of Vietnam. And I loved, because I imagined in my head, I was like, oh, they're going to a party in Vietnam. And I thought of like all those old war movies, like those kinds of parties in Vietnam. And I was thinking like that, and it was this, techno rave, and I was just like, I'm in it. Glow sticks. This is awesome. It was such a cool party. The funniest thing was Garnet. I'd never seen Garnet laugh that much. Never, ever. And I thought it was great that Slattery is just so uncomfortable and Garnet was just laughing at his expense. It was amazing. Everyone at that party was absolutely adorable. Master Chief made friends. She says something to him in Vietnamese, and he's like, I have no idea what you're saying, but this is fun. Like I said before, Master Chief is a giant teddy bear, and he'll always be my favorite. What? Oh, yeah, jeez. That was really brutal, how the pirates just came in and shot up the place. Poor Master Chief's dance partner got shot. She looked like she was dead. Will, I think, yeah, Will made the comms officer, Will, got shot. Not doing too well. Last we saw in the end of episode 2, he's still alive, but I'm gonna get to what they're doing to him, because I don't understand. I'm trying to make sense, and I just got nothing. Yeah, I wrote too many notes. Yeah, so the virus in Japan has mutated, which we didn't think it could do, and I forgot the reason why we didn't think it could do that. All Chandler said was that Dr. Scott said it couldn't mutate anymore. I honestly don't remember the reason why it couldn't mutate anymore, but it clearly has, because the cure wasn't working. Either that, or that cure that they had in the Japanese woman had, that she was trying to care for family. Obviously, that woman is immune, or she would have succumbed as well. But she had a cure that clearly said U.S. Navy on it. But it could be a fake. We don't know what Peng is, the president of China, and there's some shady business with him. I can't nail it down because we don't have all the information. We don't have all the information from the pirates, and we don't have all the information from the government of China. So we don't know who's whom. We don't really know what either side is really after. Because I have a feeling it's going to be... right now, I think the pirates and Pang both have the same possibility of either being trying to do good or being the bad guy, you know? I think it could really tip either way, but I feel like it's going to tip in a way that's unexpected. Especially since, because like they're like, oh, Pang's such an asshole. He's not treating people right. He's corrupt, president, politician, whatever. But I feel like shedding light could reveal, oh, he's not all that bad. But on the other side, they're like, oh, the pirates are disrupting the region, they're uprooting all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. But I think if you shine a light, we could be shown, oh no, the pirates are actually just trying to get the cure to people, like trying to help people who are being oppressed by Pang. Like, I think it could go either way. Or a nice 50-50. That would be super interesting, where like nobody's good or evil, everyone's on the neutral plane, just on opposite sides. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the D&D alignment grid. If you get what I mean. Everyone's on the neutral rung. Oh, I forgot to mention when I was mentioning the Burke brothers, Carlton was hitting on the translator Aya. I think it's Aya. Which was adorable. It's good to see he's doing well after we lost the what was her name? Feel awful forgetting her name. You know who I'm talking about, the Israeli woman. Anyway. Is there anything I need to say about the Nathan James? I guess I can always come back to it. So Tom heads to Hong Kong with Val, and they meet Wolf there, and it was so nice to see Wolf. Wolf is awesome. I'm so glad. It seems like he's going to be playing a bigger part in this season, and I'm all for that, because last season he was amazing. He wrecked shit, but his part was a little small. So if they beef up his part, I'm so behind that. Clearly, I guess he was stationed in Sydney. He said, Sydney's close, so I guess he went back to work in Australia. And we meet Sasha, who is a diplomat, translating for the president, translating for, I guess, an ambassador or whatever between China and America. Excuse me. And Sasha and Chandler had a thing. They had a thing. How, in what capacity that thing was, it clearly was a romantic thing. I don't know. If we find out, I think it would be really interesting. I want to point out, we also meet another new character, whose name is Jessie. And those two actresses were on Marvel shows. Uh, Sasha played a character in Agent Carter, and Jessie played a character in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Very cool to see these ladies with more parts. Especially since Agent Carter is over and I'm so devastated. But that's not what this podcast is about, guys. It's not what it's about. I liked Chandler's power play at the dinner. You know, him and Sasha were quiet for most of the dinner, talking about the situation of all these countries at the table. And then it gets to a point where Chandler's just like, no, you know what? I'm going to call this dude out on his bullshit. And he explains the Scott effect, which is what this episode is named. So the Scott effect is what they call the ability of the contagious cure to spread. And the Scott effect can only work if a proper percent of the population has the contagious cure and can spread it. I don't think they mentioned what percent, but it needs to be spread. It needs to be in a certain percentage of the population for it to spread effectively. I loved that power play. Chandler's like, and Sasha's just like, what are you doing? Whoa, stop. I loved it. I thought that was great. I still couldn't get a bead on Pang, because yeah, he's just saying, like, you know, it's not me, man. I'm not doing this. And he goes, ooh, look, the Vietnamese, you know, look who's doing the bad stuff. And then I'm like, it's you. You're shady as fuck. But I went back to listen to the things that the pirates were saying when they were over one of the dead sailors' bodies in the club. It sounded like he was speaking Japanese. And they were heading they kidnap. They shoot up the club and kidnap. They don't kill. They kidnap the crew of the Nathan James. Like, they clearly didn't want to kill any of them. One of the one that Cameron Burke sent to pick up Slattery in the helicopter, he got shot and killed. And Will got shot and taken. You know, they took him with the rest of them. And where was I going with that? Because, oh, yeah, they're speaking Japanese. At least I'm pretty sure they were. And when Burke and Daniel, which Daniel and, oh god, what's her name? Kara. Daniel and Kara had their baby, and Daniel hasn't met him yet. I was just like, oh god, no! He needs to go home and meet his son. Daniel just has to live to meet his son. I'm, like, so scared this season they're gonna kill off Daniel. Just don't do it, guys. Just don't. But Burke finds a knife on the guy who was shooting them up, and he says, I don't think he speaks Vietnamese as he's holding the knife. He's like, because that's not Vietnamese. And they didn't show the knife. I'm mad, because I would have been able to say, or at least been able to look up what language it was in, but they didn't show the blade, so I didn't see the writing, so I don't know. But I'm fairly sure they were speaking Japanese. But what I think is, the pirates are just, they're a lot of nationalities. They're like the fringes of every society in the region. Which would explain why some of them are speaking Japanese. Because the thing that, when Burke and Daniel were trying to subdue them, one of the guys comes up, points a gun at Burke, and says something in a language. And it was so short that I couldn't tell which language it was. Like, the guys who were talking earlier had a couple of sentences to say, so I was like, oh, that sounds Japanese. Whereas I wouldn't have been I couldn't tell with the other guy because what he said was so short. And I was just like, ugh, why didn't you say more things? Um, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Um, so I'll finish up the first episode before I get real deep into the second episode. So the Nathan James gets, when everybody gets kidnapped, the Nathan James is ordered in international waters. They're ordered to back off. And Cameron, whose brother is out there, goes, "Are you sure you know what you're asking me to do?" And Kara, whose husband is out there, just repeats the orders, and it's like, dude, she definitely knows what's up. Like, don't question her. It was clearly such a hard thing for her to do, but she knew she had to. It was best for the Nathan James to keep the ship safe, to keep the entire crew safe. And Val was very interesting this episode because she is a computer genius. We know this. And Tom mentioned Valkyrie, her crazy hacker program. He wouldn't have mentioned it if it's not going to be important, because it wasn't incorporated in this episode, but it's going to be in the future. I know it. But there is chatter blocking video signals. And, it was in St. Louis when Kara was trying to get maybe it wasn't just oh, you know what? It must be originating in Asia because they were trying to communicate with Daniel, who was in Vietnamese waters, it was technically international waters, but they were going to Vietnam. They were close to Vietnam when they were making the call. So it must be in that unsafe airspace that they were talking about, where you can't make calls or you're fucked. Must be whatever's disrupting the video must be in that unsafe airspace. So, I don't know if it has to do with the pirates or if it has to do with Pang. But Val figured it out when she ordered. She can't order anybody. She's not actually in the Navy. But when she tells them to turn the plane around, she knows what's up. She knows what's blocking the signal. But then the plane gets shot down. And I am not convinced that Val is dead. I am very convinced she's alive. I just don't know what state she's alive in. I don't know whether she's hurt. I don't know whether she's captured or fleeing for her life. I don't know what's up. But I can't imagine that Val is dead. Like, I just can't. And it was Wolf and Val were flirting, and he gets so upset. I'm just like, oh, Wolf, no. No, why Valerie? Yeah, that was such a good ending to an episode, too. And I mean, obviously it vaults right into episode 2, but still you feel that story break there. So, episode 2, Big Burke makes bold decisions. He decides to go after the ship, and I love how he figures out it's the same ship. He listens to its engine. It's like, you can mask your ID tag, but you can't change the sound of your engines. And I'm like, that's really fucking smart. Big Burke ain't playing around. That was very cool. And it was very interesting to see Granderson, who is another one of my favorite characters, Lieutenant Granderson, working with new people. Working with Big Burke is very interesting to me, because it's very different than how she works with Master Chief and Slattery and Chandler, and I like it, and I love her. And I love Gator. Like, every scene that Gator's in, I'm just like, yeah, you know your map, son. Do the map thing. Yeah, so we meet Jessie in this episode, and she's really cool. I love how she just starts off with like a left hook, just socks Sasha in the face. But apparently while Pang is in control, the two of them were running the cure across country lines. across borders. So Chandler's not happy with that, but I'm also not sure why he's not happy, especially if Pang is trying to block the spread of the cure. Why would he be opposed to that? I guess he doesn't want to put China at odds with America. Probably something like that. I don't know. That the subtleties of that sort of slipped past me. Yeah, the whole fight scene that Burke and Daniel had with the pirates that remained on shore in Vietnam was just crazy. Burke wasn't doing too good. He got shot and beat a little bit, but Daniel was a beast, just like killed a guy with a wrench. Yeah, that fight was brutal. Yeah, no, Burke. At least they got him, back to the Nathan James, and he's gonna get medical help. But I was very, very concerned for Burke for a while, and I'm really wondering. I hope we get more scenes because we didn't see Cameron greet his brother clearly because Cameron's running the ship at the moment, has to be on the bridge. But I hope with Chandler back on the Nathan James, the Burkes will have a little bit of a chance for bonding. It'll be very cool. I love Sasha called Tom out on his brooding. Because, he's looking at the rations with Dr. Scott's face on it, just like, like that sharp-jawed man brooding kind of thing, you know what I'm talking about? It's a very angel kind of brooding. And I love it when characters like that, and listen, you're allowed to brood, it's fine, but I like when characters get called out on brooding. It's probably one of my favorite things. But I like that Sasha's sort of here to give him, like, no nonsense, which Dr. Scott did a lot. A little less when, their relationship was tenuous, when she was, under house arrest for treason, that sort of stuff. But now with Sasha, I think it's going to be a very interesting dynamic. Slattery and all of them on the ship was very, very weird. It's revealed at the end when they get fed and stuff. It's revealed that the leader, at least, or one of the leaders, can speak English. It's clearly just a dirty ship, and they look like pirates. And they weren't really treating the crew that well, but clearly they need them alive because they didn't just shoot them. They could have just shot them, but they tased them, brought them on the ship. They clearly need them alive. It's a very POW feeling from this. One of the articles I was reading about these episodes, they were saying the writers are very big fans of those sorts of war movies in Vietnam, and the whole POW thing is interesting to them. But we have a confirmation that we will know why. We will know the pirates' plan, at least part of it, next episode. Which I'm glad they're not dragging it out. Because I think there's going to be a lot of conspiracy stuff going on this season, and I really like it. Yeah, so they're being fed filet mignon and apricots, and Garnet says that their crew's eating beans out of a can. It's like, why? Why? You kind of just condemned one of them to death, but the rest you're giving steak. I don't understand. And there is a thing with blood. There is a very weird thing with blood, because clearly at the end of the episode they're draining Will. They're just sucking all the blood out of him. And it's just like, why? 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 And the pirate that Daniel and Burke have says he's losing blood in reference to Burke. Then he says he won't like that. Probably in reference to their leader. Why? Why does your leader want blood? Is he a hemophiliac? Is he sick? Does he need blood transfusions? Is there... I don't understand. I don't know why they need blood. I don't know. I need theories, guys. Throw me theories. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Pang is full of shit. These pirates are weird. There's a lot of questions. I think we got a lot of evidence that things could go either way. But it's still having just been shown to us. And I wrote draining will of blood. What, why, who, where? Like, I just kept writing questions after because I was like, I just don't understand. Yeah, I think there's crazy stuff, and I think, unfortunately, I think that Jesse and by association, Sasha were involved with the pirates. If they're smuggling cure over the borders, they have to have been worked with the pirates or at least against them in some capacity. I think that's gonna come. That's gotta come up because Chandler called Sasha out on her bullshit, and he's like, "You didn't want me to come in because you didn't want Jesse to say anything about you having worked with her transferring cure across the border." So she's still hiding. Because she hasn't. Chandler basically said his suspicion, and she never was like, it never expanded on it. So there's definitely more there that she's not saying yet. Oh, and I love that they had to go into an irradiated area in order to take off in a helicopter. That's safe. That's good. Also, they put a grenade launcher in Wolf's hands, and he blew the shit out of almost everything, and I'm so proud of him. Like, that man was born to hold a grenade launcher. Yeah, they swoop in the Chinese helicopter, and they shoot that boat of pirates and save Daniel and Burke. And everybody gets on the Nathan James. Who knows what's next? I seriously... This was a very, very good start to a season, I think. A little rocky with, oh, hey, by the way, Dr. Scott's been dead this whole time. It's like, oh, all right, okay. But after that little bumpy bit, right in. Because this is such a show with this crazy ensemble cast where I care about everyone. It's very rare that I like everyone and care about everyone, but I do. And there's just this feeling in the show with all of these awesome, well-rounded characters. Because, even some of these, you don't see so much of them. They're still well-rounded characters. I'm into it. Oh, that's one question I had. I think they might have left the translator, Aya. I think they might have left her in Vietnam. And I was just like, no, she's awesome. Oh yeah, but the dude they had, the other Vietnamese guy, who was with the translator, he got shot and he was dead in the club. I'm so upset. He was cool. He was funny. Yeah, I'm just scanning my notes to see if I missed anything. Yeah, man. These pirates are just... I'm trying to figure it out and I just can't. But there's shade being thrown all around, so I don't think anybody is explicitly innocent or guilty, to be honest. Next episode is called Shanzai. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Chandler and the crew race to find answers in an Asian Dodge City. I don't know what that means. Slattery begins to unravel the truth about his predicament. So that's it. That's all we got. I'm very excited to be doing this show again, and I will endeavor to be on time every week. I will not double up episodes like I did. We're gonna do it by the book this time. And I want to know what you guys think. Let me know. Yeah, just like what you thought about this episode. What do you think the pirates are up to? Let me know, guys. I need to know. I forgot how to do an intro when there's no other people. You can find me at Clio on Twitter, Twitch, and Pinterest. Soon to be expanding that list when I actually start doing things on other sites such as Etsy and YouTube. So stick around for that. You can find all of us at ASOTV Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, Google+, and right here on YouTube. Follow us for some more podcasts with some of your favorite TV shows, video games, and movies. Until next time, bye-bye. MySpace. Dom isn't here. I had to do it. I feel like there's something else I'm missing to say. I don't know. I like the whole thing about poking the elephant. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Well, let's poke the elephant. It's an interesting